Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. You made the trip. You got Dank here, and my friend Reverend Will is back. And Will always has some great comments and some thoughts on what's going on. And are you just giddy over legalization, Will?
Yeah, I'm so giddy. Anybody out there who fools himself and thinks it's illegal are the reason that we can't make a difference in this world at this point in time. I mean, it's that simple, folks. If you can't smoke in public, then, I mean, you got people smoking cigarettes that can kill other people around them constantly, and it's okay, but you can't smoke pot in public. And, you know, part of that problem is our own people, because, you know, just like we were talking about being at the Hemp Fest and getting accosted by the police with their comments about how we weren't allowed to smoke pot in public, and I understand that that's what the legislature puts through, but I don't agree with any of it. I want legalization with no strings attached, because this is the kind of legalization we get where they control us. And look at what's happening. We have people who are working their butts off to get great medicine to people, and it's not even deemed a medicine. You still don't get it prescribed. You have to have it recommended. Now, how is a distinction like that not discrimination? Anything else that's out there is a medicine, it's a medicine. Our medicine is not medicine, so it has to be recommended. Most folks, especially straight folks, have no idea that this kind of crap is going on because they're not interested. It has nothing to do with them. So our own people have allowed this kind of thing to go on, and they say it's part of compromise, which can make a difference. I say, what's the reason for compromise? It never should have been illegal in the first place. You know, that's the whole thing. Like in the beginning with medical, where they come out and say, hey man, understand, what we're going to do is, no, wait a minute. The people of this state said what you're going to do is that you're going to help us get medical marijuana. And you've never done that, not in any way, shape, or form. What you've done is track us, and you've made us pay you money for services not rendered. I don't need somebody to keep track of what I'm doing with my medicine. Understand, that's my business. That's between me and my doctor, and has nothing to do with the government at all. It should get out of our business, period. It's just like having industrial. You have industrial, what do you have, 5, 7 years in the state where it's legal, but nothing's done because, oh my God, I'm afraid of the federal government. They're going to come in and they're going to stop money coming for trees and for repairing our roads, which they don't give us anyway. So, you know, folks, a lot of this is on us. I say that the problem is not the government, it's our allowing the government to use their verbology and then tell us that when there's something like a precedent. Here's an, for instance for you. Precedent, Seattle Hemp Fest, all along the sidewalk, right by the waterfront. Awesome, has lots of great comments from all the people involved in Seattle. We, on the other hand, cannot get one park without being harassed by the police constantly. Now, I mean, harassment, yeah, it's a little far, because all they're doing is telling us that we cannot have our event next year. What I had recommended was that we called it the Spiritual Hemp Fest, or Emerald Empire Hemp Fest, and declare it as a church, the Church of the Emerald Empire Hemp Fest. We do that, then the property that we're on, we're allowed to smoke there, because it's church. I don't go inside a building to pray. That's insane. I think that the people who pay money to go and sit inside a church and pray to God are wasting time, effort, and money. That they should be outside enjoying the weather and taking care of people. That's what it's all about. It's not sitting there praying to some entity, but that's a whole nother story. So, you know, as far as what I'm saying about the discrimination, we're not supposed to drive, we're not supposed to work, because we always have it in our system. You know, it's there for 30 days at a time. If I smoke on the 1st, don't smoke again until the 29th, or don't smoke at all. You know, I can be pulled over for those whole 30 days of that month because I smoked on the 1st and come up with a DUI. See, all the little tricky things that they like to say. To me, I'm sick and tired of us giving up our control of this scenario to the state, the city, the feds, It should be legalized, no strings attached. As far as my church goes, now there's another little ball of wax. This church has been in existence here in this community for 45 years, because that's how long I've been taking care of people here. And I wrote about it in 1991 because that's what they tried to use against me in a court of law to convict me of what I said I do, which is to take care of people with marijuana, people who have medical illnesses. Even though I'm not a doctor, I know how it works for PTSD because I've been using it for that since 1970. So that was all my own recommendation. It wasn't going to a doctor because you can't talk to your doctors. Understand, your doctors don't want to hear it. You know, it's against the law. Oh, well, now it's not against the law, but, you know, we have some kind of federal connection, so we have to be concerned with the federal government who's been lying since the beginning about it having no medicinal value. If it has no medicinal value, why did you get a patent on THC? Why did you get a patent on pot, period? Especially if it was illegal and had no medicinal value. But you're going to lie and hold everyone else accountable for their actions while you constantly, continuously lie and badger us. We are people who have been beaten into submission to the point where we don't want to make a difference anymore. And that's what's really sad, especially for the youth. To me, no parent out there should be smoking herb if their children don't know what they're doing and why they're doing it. If you can't tell them to be proud of who you are, then you shouldn't be doing it, period. All those who sit out here and do it, you know, recreationally and stuff, that's fine, but understand you're probably also not doing anything for the seniors who are sitting up in hospitals and in other places where nobody goes and visits while you sit there and get high all day and don't do jack. Or seeing kids who are up in the hospitals or in places where they need help. Now, understand, we have the excuse that they don't want our help, because that's one of the things that they've said so far, is the fact that we don't want you working, we don't want you driving. Oh, but you shouldn't be a couch potato. But what else is there to do if you can't work and you can't drive? Service. So we get backed into what the Church of the Caring is all about. Service, being accountable, being responsible for 100% of your actions.
Anti-cannabis, I like to call it, canna bigotry. We have a lot of canna bigotry, especially in the Oregon legislature, where they're supposed to implement Measure 91, but instead they decided to correct the problems with the medical, which weren't really many, at least none that they cured. But they had solutions looking for problems, is what they do every year, and it was more of the same. However, they did let legalization actually happen. I was really surprised. I was surprised they didn't move it. I really figured they'd put it off, but they didn't do it. They legaled it, but this is what's really funny. I think it's hilarious, actually. So it became legal on July 1st, but there's no store you can buy it until October 1st. Now, what did that do for the black market? That gave the black market one of the biggest shots in the arm they've had, the black market has had in years. So, congratulations, Oregon legislature. You dropped the ball again. Yeah. But anyway, it's all about freedom, and yes, it should be free with, I'm saying it needs to have the controls on it, that same controls as tomatoes.
I want to see the same controls as tobacco. I'm sorry. I thought this was off.
So anyway, it's a problem we go over and over and over again, and people dispute about whether it's actual beneficial and this and that, but the facts are there and the pendulum is swinging. As I like to say, the cat's out of the bag and it's not going back in.
Right. I'm sorry, folks, for the interruption with the phone. It's my bad. I guess I just don't know how to turn my phone off. I thought I had.
So August 25th is a date to remember. That's the next Oregon Analytical and the Oregon Constant Gardener series that they're calling the Cannabis Science Pub. And the subject this coming session, this is the last Tuesday of every month, it's at World Pies, which is what we know as the Cosmic. It's been resold and renamed, so now it's World Pies, so you know. But anyway, that's on Tuesday the 25th at I don't have the time listed, of course, but 6:30 if I remember correctly. So anyway, that's and it's free. So that's the kind of events that I really are great. People can afford to go and get the information.
Part of my being on here was to ask the governor and the attorney general to look into the fact that my church has been in existence for 45 years here, our church, and that church has had herb as a sacrament from the very beginning. And the thing is, we don't own a building. We don't want to own a building because we don't go inside in order to share with the Creator. So this is something I would really like you to look at, because in 1991, when I went to court, my thing was fighting for my rights as a church then. You can read about it in the Register Guard. It was in the Register Guard in 91. It took 2 court dates and 16 months to convict me of what I said I did, which was to take care of people, and I'm still taking care of people and have been for 45 years here in this community, and I get very little respect.
Rodney Dangerfield, fellow stoner.
Yep.
I get no respect. That's my, actually that's my signature file in my email, as a matter of fact. So, after almost 20 years as an political activist, yeah, I get no respect, even from my peers. But that's a whole nother story. But the Hemp Fest, by the way, went really well. Quick note, it was an absolute success. The bad news is they're telling us that we're going to be refused. They're going to deny us the park next year because of the cannabis use that I allowed.
In public.
I allowed. That was
with it being legal in public,
yeah.
But because they put a phrase in there that says you can't smoke in public. Understand, folks, you don't take and arrest people for smoking cigarettes walking down the street, and that's a hazard.
On one hand, like Will said, yes, it is against the law. But on the other hand, let's look at the reality. We've been doing this event since 2005 without having a single complaint about marijuana use. That's 10 years of events with never one complaint about marijuana use. The first year of legalization, they're making 2 accusations. I think some congratulations are in order. I think that's pretty darn good.
It should be, but understand, once again, see, this is the discrimination I'm talking about from the very beginning, where, you know, with medical, we had to have it, you know, not be called a prescription, and the people who are doing the work don't get paid. You folks know that? What pharmaceutical company out there is going to have employees that you don't pay? They just come in and work just because they love creating pharmaceuticals, right? I mean, that's what you're saying about us with pot. Now, these people aren't asking for benefits. They're not asking for health care and for a certain wage, but it seems like they should get a working wage at least when they're doing this work. So I don't know why you think it's okay to continuously discriminate against me, against us as a people, to tell me that my church has a right to exist, which the judge actually said in court, but that I couldn't use my sacrament because it wasn't, because it was illegal. Well, guess what? It's not illegal here. So I want my right to see my friend, who we both have the same sacrament, and we want to use it, and we can use it wherever in this state.
We'll be back to the second segment. Thanks, Reverend Will, for help being here. We'll see you right back. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of following all the rules? Ready to let loose? Have a little fun? Sounds like you need to. Get high. And with Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution, you can. Narcomex values your business. That's why we're your #1 supplier of drugs, and you're our #1 consumer. These billions can't be wrong. We work hard for your business and have killed not 1, not 2, but 3 Mexican police and 2 journalists just to keep you high with that very joint. Why, our commitment to keeping you supplied has killed over 17,000 people right next door. Traffickers, soldiers, journalists, prosecutors, you name it. We're that passionate about your business. We've even begun to destroy some of your favorite tropical beach destinations. Because if you smoke enough at home, you don't even need a beach. But don't legalize it or grow it at home. Let us do the work for you. Sure, consumers boycotted evil companies, but there's no need to boycott Narcomex Incorporated, your direct-to-consumer drug trafficking solution, also offering heroin, meth, and cocaine. Narcomex Incorporated. Live a little, and forget others won't.
Welcome to the second half of episode 585 of the Eugene Cannabis TV show. We've got our friend Neriah here that's going to talk to us about hemp and cannabis and the whole subject. So real quick, I want to jump in there's an event going on this weekend in Bend. It's called the Hemp and Marijuana Expo. I don't have the details like I should have, but anyway, heads up, do a search on it if you're in Bend or going to be going to Bend by this weekend. So anyway, so Neriah, what do you got for us today?
Well, I'm backing up with a little bit of what you had to say earlier, Dank, on the thing at Cosmic Pizza, which is not
World Pies.
Cosmic anymore.
Yeah.
It's World Pies, which is that World
Yeah,
like
I guess
that
so.
kind of pie?
Yeah.
That's still pizza, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, basically, I have a Dr. Ken Welker, as you mentioned, and Dr. Ken Welker is into endopharmacology, I guess is how you say it. And basically, he said that this is the most valuable vegetable on the planet. And one of the reasons he said that is because he's also into juicing, raw juicing, like I am and my partners are. Basically, it's the best food and the most nutritious food on the planet. And for one main reason that most people don't realize is that endocannabinoid system works with all the cannabinoids. So you need to get the cannabinoids into your system, into your body, into the endocannabinoid system, so they can all work together to heal whatever you have or to keep you healthy, to allow you to be able to live the lifestyle you want in your body. And to do that, you need to do the raw juice. If you just smoke it or you eat it and otherwise put the extracts in your body with it, you're not necessarily getting all the cannabinoids. And especially in the raw form, they still have their acids connected. They don't drop them, and as well as THC has the acid that is such a bad boy. The actual definition of hemp by the legal standards of the federal government is 0.03% or less of THC. Well, even that amount is probably not even a scratch. I'd imagine you can get up to about 5% before you really, from what my research has shown, there's not much more that you can take less of without feeling anything at all with the THC. So it's like how you actually want to live your life is to understand how you work with the endocannabinoid system. If you're just taking the THC and smoking it, then it's decarboxylating, it's dropping the acid. You don't get the benefit of the acid. The acids are very valuable within the endocannabinoid system. They have a major role they play. They help with the lignans and all the other parts of the endocannabinoids. And especially when we're talking on smell and taste, terpenes is what we're talking about. And terpenes, there's over 22,000 known terpenes as there is. That's almost every smell and taste that you can imagine is a terpene. And basically, these terpenes exist in 200 terpenes exist in cannabis. And that's those sweet smelling, tasting, like lemon sour diesel or pineapple express. They can have a little fruity, or they can be sour. They can have a pine smell or taste. But one of the magic things the terpenes do with the endocannabinoid system when you take these terpenes into your body is it activates within the cells the actual cannabinoids that are needed and cause more of an effect that helps you balance. One of the main things that the endocannabinoid system is looking to do is to balance your body. to bring you to that state of homeostasis where you have the natural healing and health that your body needs. And you get that through these, not only all the other things in it, but the terpenes help with that, and so are all the other activated things in the endocannabinoid system. So if you really want to get healthy, I'm saying don't just smoke your pot. Get the raw juice and do it with the raw juice. Now, with that said, I want to talk a little bit too about how it came about that CBDs were in even a little bit of percentage, was when they started taking hemp and crossing it with the indica species and the other kinds of strains that are in those venues there, for basically actually creating higher percentage in THC plants of these, excuse me, I'm losing my point here, but basically you're getting all you need when you do it with the raw juice. So on this aspect of it, there's so many people that are just dealing with all the terpenes and for flavors now, for the vape pens, for, in the oils, even I know of people who are putting into the medical foods as well. So like this is an aspect that is taken for granted, just that it's a smell and a taste. But the reality is it has interactions with the endocannabinoids in the body, in the endocannabinoid system. And along with that, I think that hemp is part of the equation no matter how you cut it, in a sense. These terpenes and the CBDs in the cannabis are rich in hemp, oftentimes more than people think. And for instance, some of the high CBD strains that we're using came from Northern California, where Dr. Courtney has been working with 7,000 people for 3 years, almost 4 years now, raw juicing of the cannabis plant. And they developed various strains, Lawrence Ringo's family, and he developed many of the strains that are used by these patients in Northern California. And the evidence from this so far has been that everyone who takes it is healthy, and whatever is ailing them gets healed. So this is not just a miracle or some kind of put on. It is the reality of the cannabis plant, that the best benefits for you in your endocannabinoid system come from that raw juice of the whole plant of cannabis. And if you have high CBD percentages, it's going to be even mellower for you. And a lot of people get to where they take that too much THC, where all of a sudden there's a little anxiety or paranoia. Well, it's then when you really need your CBDs, because then that's when they mellow out the THC and take care of that paranoia and allow you to reach that balance again. So there's a different temperature in the CBD and the THC. So if you're taking a joint that has both of those, they're going to release their acids at a different heat. And you might notice that the THC will be first to hit you in the brain, and then the CBD will hit you in your body and really allow the nervous system and the rest of the blood circulation to be where it's supposed to be to help you live your life in a healthy way.
Now you're juicing, so you take live raw plants, leaves, I mean.
Leaves and flowers.
And flowers. And you actually put them in a regular juicer, like any kind of a fruit juicer? Or, I mean,
Yeah, we've also often do it mostly with a blender, but we have some friends that for this purpose have bought a more expensive one they're bringing over for the juicing when we do it.
Wow. Now, what's the taste? I heard it doesn't taste very well.
Well,
very good. So what do you do?
it doesn't have a bad taste, but it doesn't have a good taste either. So we put apple juice in it just to sweeten it. It doesn't need much to deal with that. It's kind of like alfalfa juice that way, you know, sprouted alfalfa stuff. That it's a little hard with all that chlorine or chlorophyll, I mean, that is in the plant. It's a little hard on the palate. You can taste that part, yes. But you cut it with apple juice or something sweet like that, and it does mellow, really easy to drink and get the whole benefit of it. Especially if we add an extra little couple tablespoons of that hemp seed oil for the protein. There's no other food on the earth to put together with the raw cannabis. That together these two are the food that you could totally live on, period.
Excellent. Wow. Well, that's interesting. I've heard of the juicing, but I hadn't experienced it yet. But it certainly makes sense. No cooking involved, raw, no heat involved. You're getting it all just straight. Right? Yeah, that's fascinating. I know, like I've done a little bit of juicing myself, and for instance, like celery. You know, celery, it tastes horrible, but you mix some of that with the apple juice, like you said, and the carrot juices, mix them a little bit, and you can actually, then it tastes great. So. Anyway, we've got to wrap this up, and we're going to get out, and we'll get to wrap up this episode, and we're sure people come and visit us at the studio. Elvie and Elvie Musica. We don't want to forget about Elvie. Elvie's birthday. So Elvie Musica, frequent guest on the Hemp Fest, on the TV show. So happy birthday. So we're going to close out. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Yeah.